Watch this one very carefully because the embryo inside is moving. Welcome back to video 3 of our incubation and hatching series. So today is going to be our day 14 candling. So day 14 is an exciting day because with day 7 you have a small amount of development and a small embryo. With day 14 that has significantly improved, and so you're going to have a way bigger embryo that you're looking for and way bigger and more visible veins. So it is an exciting day to candle. If you're doing candling with like kids or students or anything like that, day 14 is the fun one, the one that you can see the embryo. There's a lot of space still left over so you can see pretty well, whereas day 7 it's small amounts of embryo and small amounts of veins. So I really like day 14 candling because then that is when I can make for sure determinations on what's fertile, what's developing, what's stopped developing, and all of that. So in this candling session, we are mainly just checking to make sure that the eggs are viable still, making sure all of the questionable ones I had from my day 7 we're going to recandle those and see which ones were fertile and which ones were infertile. And then we're checking to make sure that we have all of the embryos that have stopped developing, that we take those out of the incubator. So let's go ahead and get candling and see what we can see. So this one's hard to tell, but this one was a questionable egg, and I set it aside. This is one of the darkest ones I have, so you can see how at day 14 it's way easier to see it. I can see some veins, and I can see a very prominent air cell. And if I flip the egg over, you can see where the embryo is coming up to on the other side. This is not the air cell. This is just the other side that the embryo hasn't filled yet, but you can see veins on this side as well. Alright, so this one was a questionable. You can see this is not fertile. So this one is going to be coming out of the incubator. Okay, so this was another questionable one because I couldn't see it, but look, you can see it now. So that dark spot right here, that's that embryo. I even think I just saw some movement. And then you can see a big old vein right here. So if they're ever questionable on day 7, just hold them. Either recandle them on day 10 or day 14. Okay, another questionable one, and you can see those veins really prominently. See how easy that is once you get a little bit more development. And then we have our embryo right there, that big dark spot. See how that spot's darker? That's where the embryo is sitting. Alright, so this one was a questionable one. I can see the air cell, so this one's an olive colored egg. I can see the air cell pretty well. So I think this one stopped developing, but I may just keep it in the incubator just in case, and I'll just put it as far over in the incubator, far away from all the other ones as possible, just so I can recheck it. Another olive colored egg that I was questionable on before, but now it's obvious that this one is infertile, so it's going to be coming out. Well, I think we have the same boat as that last olive one. We might have some development where this dark spot is. There might be an embryo, because when I turn it, that kind of moves. But I think I'm confident enough on that. I see no veins. I only see a little dark spot. I think this one either stopped developing or it wasn't fertile. I'm taking this one out. So here's another really dark egg. So this one I was questionable on the first round because it's too hard to see through and see the small embryo. But at this point, you can start to see the bigger embryo and it has more development, so those veins can kind of be seen through that thicker, darker shell. So this one I'm calling fertile, and it's staying in the incubator. Here's another questionable one I had. It is a dark olive egg, and to me, it doesn't look like it has developed any further. It may have had some development, but it at this point doesn't look like it is progressed as far as it needs to be at day 14. And I don't see any veins, and I don't see anything that's going to indicate that this one is still going. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one from the incubator. So here we have a blue-shelled egg. Blue-shelled eggs are actually really hard to candle because the blue is actually harder to see through than dark brown. And same goes for olive, because olive is a mix of dark brown and blue. But I can just barely pick up the veins on the side of this egg. I don't think the camera can see it very well, but the veins are barely visible, and this one was questionable from last round because I couldn't see anything. So here's one that I must have missed. This one is a light colored egg, so you can see really well that this one is completely glowing. It is lighting up the entire egg. So this is an obvious infertile. So a very good example of what you're looking for when you have an infertile egg. It just glows like a lantern. So here's another good example. This one is a tan egg. So it's very easy to see this embryo. So it is right here on the side. And then also the veins are really prominent. Let's see if we can zoom in on them a little bit. So right there you can see the veins really well. Oh, I don't know how this one made it through either. Another infertile egg. Some of these olive ones are just hard to tell at first, so this one's an olive. Oh, Moran egg. Nice and dark, but this one's hard to tell, but I can actually see the embryo right here. This is the side the embryo's on, and then this side. But this one is good and still developing. Okay, here's an olive egg that's actually, you can see the veins on. So that one is good. Easy peasy. Fertile. Fertile. Ooh, it was moving. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Where did it go? Huh? Sounds good. Ooh, that one's good too. That one's really easy. What? So this one is a stop developed egg. So you can see the embryo right here, but we have no more veins. So there should be really nice veins around. And so this embryo here, we'll even pause on it for a second and see if we have any movement. But this embryo gave up. These ones are the ones that can break in your incubator because obviously this embryo is dead inside, and so it can basically explode. So I'm going to take this one out. Good. Good. Ooh, very good. These tan ones are easy to see. Good. And another blue one. Yep, I believe this one's good. Okay, that's the first batch. Alright, I found another embryo that had given up. So you can see the embryo on this side, but if you twist it and look, you cannot see any more veins in this egg. And this is a light colored egg, so you would be able to see. So this is one way to tell if an embryo is given up. And if you're not sure, you can sit there and watch that embryo for a second and see if you see any movement, which we do not. But yeah, there would be some really thick, heavy veins, because those veins is how that embryo is getting oxygen, because the veins run alongside the shell, and then that porous shell is pulling oxygen through it into those veins to supply to that chick. So there's no more veins on this. So this embryo is a embryo that has stopped developing for whatever reason. So this one will be pulled. Just had to show off this egg, one of the big ones. It's a light tan, but it has really nice veins. So you can kind of compare that with the one we just saw. These really big, nice veins, and if you watch closely, the embryo is moving a little bit. And also remember, we are looking at the air cell, so we are making sure that when we're candling, we're checking the air cells and getting an idea if all the air cells are where they should be for the appropriate amount of days, so that we know that our humidity is at a good level. So far, it's looking pretty good. We're at 25% humidity. Now watch this one very carefully, because the embryo inside is moving. Alright, so as you guys could see, there has been a lot of changes in our eggs. So we have a lot of good development, a lot of good eggs still. We had a few more infertile ones that we pulled out, and then we had 2 that had stopped developing completely, and then 1 that is questionable on stop developing. So what I did is I just set that egg further to the side so that it is kind of a whole row away from the rest of the eggs. And then we will revisit that one later. So in total, what we had in our batch is about 75% fertility. So 75% is still on the higher end of natural fertility, because it can be anywhere from 50 to 75%. So we are right there at 75%, which is really good. As our weather gets better and our temperatures increase and the chickens become more active, then the fertility is definitely going to go up, and we can probably see a little bit higher than 75% if we do another batch after this one. And that just kind of improves with your weather and improves with the season, because those chickens are going to be just naturally getting more active and naturally getting into their typical breeding season, so their fertility will definitely go up. And then the next video is going to be coming on day 18 at lockdown. So in lockdown, you kind of change a few things in your incubator. So we're going to go over all of that when we get to our day 18 video. We are going to recandle the questionable egg, and then we're going to look at the rest of the others to make sure that all of them are still developing like they should, that no one gave up yet, and we will lock down our incubator and we'll set them up to see what hatches. So come with us and we'll see you guys on day 18.